Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As promised, this is my first live build, Red Hood. I'm excited for this project. It was actually one of the first projects I did. So if you checked out my first video where I went over the overview on what I did to make this work, check that out. But I'm happy with how this helmet came out. So I'm actually going to do a step-by-step tutorial on how to get you to make your very own Red Hood helmet. Very simple. I'm going to take you from the slicing the model to being able to just put this thing right on your head. Of course, we're going to add the LEDs to the eyes. We're going to make sure that this thing is fully sanded and it looks nice before we print. I'm going to take you through all of that right now. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe. This is going to be a whole series going over what I did to make this thing look as it does right now. My first project that I've done step by step for you guys, so I really do hope that you guys do enjoy it. And of course, share it with your friends, and let's get started. I'll take you guys into my lab, so let's go. Alright guys, so this is my lab. This is where I do all my printing. As you can see, I have 3 printers here. If you're watching in my previous videos, I kind of go over what they are. These are some of the projects that I'm currently working on right now. There's my Nova, my Iron Man, which I kind of want to do again, both of them. Give more of a sheener gold, shine it out. Deathstroke, still a raw print, gotta sand that down. My Star Boost Iron Man helmet that I need to really get down and dirty with. And of course, my Venom, which I haven't fully printed all the parts, but I'll show you guys that later. And of course all the filament that I use, that's just half of it, not even half. So right now the printers that I'm going to be using are my Ender 5 Plus, and of course my Sidewinder, artillery Sidewinder. My Annette A8, I haven't really done any printing with this yet in terms of like cosplay helmets. I've done little things like these little dragons and stuff here, and the Baymax you see right there on the shelf. But I'm getting to the point where I might start using that, but I need a sturdier table because this thing likes to rock and it creates layer shifts, and you kind of don't want that. So the printers I'm going to be using are my Annette A8 Plus, my artillery Sidewinder, and my Creality Ender 5 Plus right here. So I'm going to use the Ender 5 Plus to print the front of the helmet, and then I'm going to use the Annette the Sidewinder here to print the back of the helmet. So I'm going to have both of these printers going on at the same time. I probably need to get a better breaker because I think I'm going to trip the breaker, but I've done this before, just can't turn on any extra lights. So I think we should be fine. So let me take you into the Slicer software and show you how I orientate all these parts. Alright guys, so before we get into slicing, of course you have to get the file. A lot of people ask me, where did I get this file? DL3D, usually your one-stop shop for everything. So far, everything that I've gotten from here has been very, very great quality, and they do update a lot of this stuff very well. If you do end up signing up to become a member, they do a lot of free giveaways. Like you can do Black Panther here, there's a full Star Boost suit here. And there's a lot of cool stuff that you can just get for free. So I really do highly recommend that you guys go ahead and create an account on DL3D. But that's the story for another time. We're actually going over to look at the Red Hood helmet that I got, because you can't do this project unless you have the right file, obviously. So let's check this out. As you can see, there's a ton of Red Hood stuff here, a lot of cool ones that eventually I will probably get to at some point. But the one that I got was the Red Hood Rebirth helmet, which is this one right here. And it comes in technically two parts. They come with these little eye holes that I don't know what they're for. I've never figured it out. But it's a 4-file thing. You don't have to print out these eye holes or anything like that. That's entirely up to you. But we're going to focus on the front part, which is the purple, and then the back, which is the blue. And as you can see, this is how some people have finished their helmet. This one looks really good. This one is what I'm actually going for, a matte sheen kind of finish. And of course, once you buy the file is yours. Now, the price here, yeah, 29 bucks is kind of expensive. If you can afford it, go for it. No one's putting a gun to your head here. But if you do sign up, you can actually go to the deal of the day here. And there's a lot of stuff that are usually close to about 50% off. And I check this every day to get something cool to build over the weekend to kind of have my printer going. Full suits, everything here. So I would recommend just going in and checking out the deal of the day right here and seeing what they have available. Now for holidays, they do give out a coupon, sometimes up to 40-50% off all the prints that you can go ahead and get. Now they won't have a deal of the day during that holiday weekend, but you can go ahead and still get some pretty good discounts on that. So remember, DO3D, really good stuff. Their prints have been just phenomenal in terms of quality. So I know in my previous video I said I did 2 Red Hoods. That other Red Hood was from Etsy, not my favorite. I'm more of a fan of the Red Hood Rebirth. It's more of a meaner, cleaner look, and the eye holes aren't as big. So go ahead, grab the file. Link is in the description if you want to do it that way. But yeah, so let's jump right into the slicing. Alright, so I use Simplified 3D to slice pretty much everything. Now you can use Cura. I don't really like Cura. I used to love Cura very much, but when you get Simplified 3D, game changer. So if you're going to be doing a lot of printing, a lot of cosplay stuff, I recommend ponying up the $150, buying a license for Simplified 3D because it's worth it. But Cura works just as well. Actually, between both of them, Cura has features that Simplified 3D doesn't have, and Simplified 3D has features that Cura doesn't have. What I've learned is that you cannot copy the same print settings from Simplified 3D over into Cura. They won't print the same, and I learned this the hard way. So please make sure that you are modifying your print settings if you're jumping between Cura and Simplified 3D. Alright, so here's the front of the helmet here, just like that. Now I'm going to show you guys something really interesting, because this is one of the things that Simplified 3D just doesn't do. Unlike Cura can create support blockers, and Simplified 3D doesn't really do that. So if you were to print it straight up, which is what most people kind of go for, you're going to get this whole mess of supports in there, and you don't want that. So if we just, for shits and giggles, go ahead and slice the model, just to see how long this print is going to take, I can kind of give you an idea of what it is. Now again, DO3D files are very, very solid. Like, they're really good files, so it doesn't matter regardless, it's going to take a while. But if you were to print something straight up like that, it's going to fill with the supports. You're looking at 104 hours here, guys. That's, wow, I don't know, almost a week, maybe a little over. So let's play with this a little more. Now if you watch, I hope you guys have been watching my previous videos, because I do go over a lot of cool stuff. So I'm gonna clear all supports here. Now what I do with all my helmets is that I keep it very simple here. I know people, when they go ahead and do it, let's double click on the front, on the name of the file, and this tool part will come up. Now I always scale my helmets to 110% because I have a big head, so just so it fits me, I scale it up like that. Now what I usually do when I go to print helmets is that I normally rotate it. Now you can play with these angles. I know people who rotate it forward, but they do that in Cura. So if we go to center and arrange, you are going to get this whole thing full of support material, and you don't want that. Usually if a print takes more support material than the actual print itself, you're just wasting material at that point. In Cura, you're able to go ahead and create a support blocker in this area, and it tells you not to do that. Well, it tells the printer not to print supports there, and that's very helpful. But what I do to avoid all this, click on the file name again, let's put this back to 0, is that I rotate it about the y-axis. So I just turn it over. So I make it go 180 degrees, upside down, center and arrange, and I print all my helmets upside down. And what that does, it avoids any type of support materials being printed inside, because the helmet itself is going to act like its very own support. So if you go ahead and generate automatic supports, you're going to get supports on the bottom, obviously, but you're not going to get that full inside supports. Now you can go ahead and leave these supports in there. I recommend it, but they are kind of a pain in the ass. So if you want, clear all supports, let's tone it down a bit, generate automatic supports, and you can actually go ahead and remove existing supports and just start clicking away. But if you reduce the density of these supports here, they should be simple to go ahead and rip out. All right, now if we go ahead and go prepare to print again, we should get a dramatically smaller time to print this thing. So let's find out. yeah, it kind of takes a while depending on your computer speed. I just got a new computer, so it's actually running very, very well. Of course, here, you know, if you see supports that you normally don't want to have, you can go ahead and remove them too. Not going to make a whole lot of difference in terms of making it print faster, but I can already tell that that's going to be a pain in the ass to get out. So I would just go ahead and tell the model not to do it. This one is going to take 49 hours, about 2 days. So that's okay with me. Totally down with that. So let me go in here and let me remove these supports here, because I'm not going to have fun with these at all. So let's get these out here. Let's get all these out, because I know when it's done printing, that groove is where that black line on the helmet usually is, and you want that to be as clean as possible. You don't want any debris, any type of cracks or anything like that in there. The eyes also might be a pain in the ass too. The last one I printed, my first one, had that problem, so I'll probably go ahead and just I'll leave those in there for now, because we're just going to sand it down eventually in the end. But I'll probably get rid of this here and here and here, here and here and here, and all this stuff. There we go. Get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you kind of get the picture. So when you generate automatic supports, I would just go ahead and just see where these supports are and just get rid of them, because they're going to hinder your resolution of, not the resolution, the finish of your print. I try to do, now prep work, once we get there, I'm going to go into detail on how we do most of the prep work here. But you don't want the supports like hindering those features, because these features are very fine. Like, and I've seen people over sand something or overfill something, and it's destroyed details like that, and you don't want that. You want your helmet to look nice, you want to show it off, you want people to see it, you know. Try and maintain as much of the detail as possible, and sometimes supports do kind of screw that up, but yeah, just do your best there. All right, so that's how I'm going to print it, and I always print my helmets upside down like I said. So we're going to go in here. Yeah, it says Deathstroke, because that was the last thing I did. Now I'm not necessarily sure on how you guys do your print settings. Do it your way. I'm not going to go into that, but my print settings are very, very simple. So I'll share mine with you. I'm building the front on my Ender 5 Plus. So I want to see how this printer does in terms of making this work. I'm going to do a medium, which is about a 0.2 layer height, which is fine with me. We're just going to sand it down. You can actually go up and maybe do 0.3, and I probably might cut down the time. In fact, I think I might just do that, because we're just going to end up sanding it down anyway. Actually, no, I think I'm going to keep it at 0.2, because the higher the layers, the more likely you're going to get cracks and separated layers. We're going to fill it, but I don't want to waste a lot of time on filling. My nozzle is 0.4 and my multiplier is 9.4. Nozzle diameter, obviously, and then my retraction settings. Now, according to retraction settings, this is what's going to prevent stringing. I haven't fully figured out with my Ender 5 Plus what prevents the stringing, because I haven't been playing with it. I just got it, and I just honestly fixed it with a new extruder upgrade and all that stuff. So I don't know how this is going to work. So this will be a little test for me. So I have it retraction distance at 4 millimeters and 40 millimeters a second as a retraction speed. Layer height 0.2. I keep my layers pretty much at default. I don't really mess with that. My additions, I use a skirt to kind of prime the nozzle first. Everyone should be using a skirt. I don't use any rafts. If you don't know when to not use a raft and when to use a raft, usually if a model doesn't have a flat surface you can set down, you would use a raft. But here, this is a different story, because the supports are actually looking to use itself as the raft. So I don't do that. The adhesion should be fine. Infill, I'm using my Extruder 1 rectilinear. I usually always use rectilinear, and of course I'm keeping my supports. My support infill percentage, I think I'm going to turn that down to about maybe 15%. That's all I need. Temperature, my heat bed is at 60, and my extruder, I'm going to be at 210. That's what I usually keep it at. Cooling, my fan, 60%, and the rest of this is just other stuff that I don't really care much for. So, is it okay? Let's prepare to print, and let's see how that works. Yeah, if you were to do this in Cura in terms of slicing, it would have taken forever. So I encourage everyone to get their hands on Simplify 3D, because it's very, very useful. So go ahead and do that. Not as slow as Cura. I mean, Cura has its moments, but you know, Simplified 3D is kind of like the top of the line where everyone's using these days. All right, so we have 40 hours. I was able to shave off 8 hours right then and there by getting rid of some of those supports that were on the side here and all that stuff. So, you know, do to each his own, whatever you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and see how this prints. And you can always get a print preview of how this is going to print. I don't know if Cura actually does that, but this is actually really neat little add-on bonus when you get it. Shows you how it's going to print, where it's going to start building the supports, and everything is color coded. So green is obviously your outer shell, the yellow is your supports, you know, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And you have the legend up here where you can just go ahead and feature type, and this will tell you what it is here. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. I'm just gonna pause that. All right, now we're gonna do the back. And first things first, be sure that whatever you scale the front to, you're gonna scale the back to 110. That's very important. You don't want to mess that up. All right, now with this, usually I would just make sure that this surface right here is kind of, you know, laying on the floor as flat as possible, but you will get support filling in this. So what I'm going to do is actually something new. I've never done this before with a back piece, but I'm going to do it the exact same way that I did my original helmet. So let's do that. Flip it upside down, and then let's see what the supports look like. Should be relatively the same. Generate supports. It might work. It might work. Actually, what you can do. Nope. Let's go here. Clear all supports. Let's rock this back a bit. About 30 degrees. Done. Center in the range. Let's see what the supports look like. Yeah, I think that'll be a lot better, and we can get rid of the supports in here, so we can remove the supports here, because we won't need that. Let's get rid of that. All this can go away, go away, go away, go away. All right, there you go. All right, so all the settings are going to be the same for this one. Again, make sure if you don't remember what you set everything to, be sure to do it. I'm actually going to be using my artillery sidewinder for this one, so I'm going to save my settings and then make sure everything looks good. So my artillery sidewinder settings are completely different, but I keep it the same because this is a different printer. So we're going to make this into a medium because that's the resolution of the last one, which is 0.2 millimeter layer height. Skirt, obviously, infill, triangular, we're going to keep that the same. The supports here are going to be different, so we're going to do that. 60 here, primary extruder, going to be a 210, perfect. Cooling, 60%, yada, yada, yada. And these are my just personal print settings. Yours might be entirely different. Do whatever you feel is best for your print. All right, so we're going to hit OK. Print. Actually, let's cancel. Oops, never mind. I wanted to center it, so I will go ahead and recenter that once it's done. Once it's done doing its thing. Now sometimes, even though this is the back part of the helmet, sometimes it takes just as long to print because of the material, but sometimes you might get lucky, sometimes it might be half the time of the front, which I'm hoping this is less time than the front of the helmet. Yeah, you're looking at about 14 hours, but I want to kind of center this. There we go. Let's reslice it again. It's waiting. It's kind of funny how this is taking longer than the actual front part of the helmet. Who knew? All right. Alrighty, so it should be about 14 hours, the same. So once you've done all your slicing and all that fun stuff, go ahead and save it. Make sure when you do save it, I put everything in separate folders regarding the printer. I actually see I already have here 110 back. You know, I could probably end up using that one, which I probably will because it's the same size. But make sure you do save it. That way you have it. And remember where you put it. Also, quick note, if you do have a Creality Ender 5 Plus, there is a bug in that board to where the characters in your file cannot be more than 15 characters. Otherwise, it's not going to print. So get creative in saving those file names. Otherwise, you're just going to have to keep on renaming it until it decides it wants to print. So 15 characters is kind of a restriction, but it is what it is. So make sure you save your files. I'm going to use this original back hood here because that's what I did before. You know what? I'm just going to do this one too, just for shits and giggles. So red hood back number 2, and I always put 110 just to remember what resolution I set it as, because I usually forget that, and I have had issues going forward. 110%, and this is back number 2. All right, there you go. So go ahead, put it on your flash drive, and let's go upload it to the printer. Alrighty, well, I just threw these files on the printer, and they are well on their way to getting this done. Looks like it's pretty good so far. Glass might be a little dirty, but we can fix that. We have the Sidewinder doing the back, and we have the Ender 5 Plus doing the front. So we'll check back. If you want to get updates as this is printing, follow me on my social media accounts. You can find those in the description. Alright. Okay, gang, that's all I got for you today. The printers are going. We're going to check back in a couple of days to make sure everything is going well and that everything printed okay. So if you're following along with this mini series, make sure you are checking your prints. If you don't have a filament sensor, like my Ender 5 does not have a filament sensor, make sure you change that filament before you go to work or go to bed or anything like that, so you don't ruin your print, because it's not going to stop, obviously. So guys, keep it locked here. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, like it, share it out with your friends. I'm everywhere. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on, well, not Twitter anymore, but Parler Minds. I do have a Discord server where we do have this 3D prints and stuff like that, amongst other things. So please go ahead and check those out. It'll be, all the links to those will be in the description. So I'll see you guys next time, and we will get down to sanding these bad boys and making sure everything works well. All right, so see you guys next time on, I don't know what to call the show, another 3D print project. Good luck. Love to see what you guys are working on. Adios.